Hello friends, welcome back to part 21 of my Tesla earnings forecast video review series. My co-host Loki is bedded down still, as he was at the end of the previous video. But I do want to start with a programming note, as I expressed a little uncertainty in the previous video about where insurance hit. Does it hit in automotive or does it hit in services and other? Just wanted to clear up any confusion I may have introduced. I was right to stop myself because insurance is not part of automotive sales. Insurance is part of services and other. Costs to provide vehicle insurance are part of what's in services and other. I'll go ahead and read you the rest of what's in here because it's pretty short. The place you want to go in the 10K to find this information is the cost of revenues section, not the revenue section. The revenue section is really long and drawn out. If you're just looking to check quickly, hey, what goes where, it's presented very economically in the cost section. So services and other has the other revenue costs associated with providing non-warranty, after-sales, services, and parts. Okay, so these are the Tesla service centers where you get your Tesla repaired and you pay out of warranty, so those costs and revenues hit in the services and other section. These are probably presented in order of materiality, so the most material or the largest amounts get listed first. I'm imagining, I don't know that's for sure. Costs of paid supercharging come next, so supercharging revenues hit here and not as automotive sales because they're not related to selling a car. They're related to the existing established fleet of Tesla vehicles needing to recharge while on road trips, or for folks who don't have charging at home. Next, cost of used vehicles, including refurbishment costs. So when you sell your old Tesla back to Tesla, they have to fix it up and sell it to somebody else. So those costs hit as services and other. Then the Tesla store retail merchandise cost of sales hits here. So Tesla has to buy the stuff that they sell on the Tesla website, and those costs are some of what's grouped in the services and other section, along with vehicle insurance. So that's what's in services and other. What's in automotive sales? Cost of automotive sales revenue includes direct and indirect materials. So those are raw materials and parts ordered from suppliers, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 suppliers. Labor costs, these are everybody who works at a factory to help produce more stuff. Not necessarily cars. Tesla makes other stuff besides cars. Manufacturing overhead, including depreciation cost of tools and machinery, shipping and logistics cost, vehicle connectivity costs, allocations of electricity, and infrastructure costs related to our supercharger network, and reserves for estimated warranty expenses. So in this section we said the non-warranty after-service parts and service costs get recorded as services and other. What about the rest of it? The rest of it hits up here because it's part of the accrual for how much warranty expense Tesla should expect they will incur at the time they sell a new car. So if those repairs are going to be covered under warranty, then the cost needs to hit as cost of automotive sales. Cost of automotive sales revenues also includes adjustments to warranty expense. Every quarter you look at your warranty expense reserve balance and adjust that to make sure it's as accurate as you think you can get it based on the information you have. Charges to write down the carrying value of our inventory when it exceeds what is estimated net realizable value. So if you had inventory that went bad for whatever reason, you might have to write off that inventory if it was an obsolete part or, something. And to provide for obsolete, there it is, and on-hand inventory in excess of forecasted demand. All right, so that's the stuff that hits the automotive sales bucket. Let's round it out with the automotive leasing bucket. What's in here? Cost of automotive leasing revenue includes depreciation of operating lease vehicles, cost of sales associated with direct sales type leases, and warranty expense related to leased vehicles. So exactly what you would expect to find in automotive leasing. And then a little slice of supercharger network costs get allocated to automotive leasing cost of sales. And then if it's an energy product, the cost of sales hits the energy generation and storage cost segment. And if it doesn't hit in any of these four buckets, it's not a cost of sales. It's an operating expense, which is what you see down here: research and development, income taxes, SG&A, etc. All right, enough said about that. Let's continue the tour back here in the forecast model where we left off, which was here on row 1409. I'm going to move pretty fast through what's in my forecast thread in the next few tweets. So we've got a section here showing revenue by type. This is very similar to what's presented up top in the income statement section, which was the first table of numbers that we covered after we made it through all the charts. So the only real difference here is that there's a line here for regulatory credits excluding currency translation. So this is as Tesla now reports it. A regulatory agency made them break out regulatory credits revenue on its own line. So I have a section that shows it that same way. And I'm excluding the currency translation adjustment from the regulatory credits so that I can tie this number out to whatever Tesla reports. And then I'm plugging for whatever else is left over in automotive sales on this line by subtracting whatever I've called regulatory credits. So that's enough said about that section. Then we've got the costs and the expenses, just kind of grouped tightly together here into summary groups, like everything else excluding stock comp to get to the non-GAAP earnings, then the stock comp on its own row, and the GAAP earnings, which is what you get after subtracting stock compensation from non-GAAP earnings. Or rather, you're really taking the GAAP earnings as reported and adding back the stock compensation to get up to non-GAAP earnings, excluding non-cash stock-based compensation expense. Then we just got a couple of sections here that are giving us the pennies we needed for those charts that we reviewed earlier on about how Tesla makes and then spends each dollar of revenue. So go check out that video if you're interested in it. Then I've got a 12 trailing month section doing the same thing. This is just to smooth out seasonality. I needed a separate section to do the 12 trailing month average instead of just the current quarter's average. Got a row here for the investor letter date format. So this is just something my model needs to do a little math. Doesn't have to be precise, just has to be close enough. Next, non-GAAP OPEX check figures. So I am doing the work two different ways and then comparing them to make sure that I'm arriving at the same answer both ways. So one of those is the GAAP OPEX as reconciled above, and the other one is the one linked to the income statement where I do it a different way, just making sure I haven't missed anything, like this. Add back net income loss attributable to common stockholders, whatever that line is. So just a few rows here that help reconcile that both ways. Then I've got cost of sales percent by income statement line item. So in the income statement section, I really only have a gross margin row that you could back into one cost of sales percent, but I've got cost of sales percents here for automotive, for leasing, for total, for energy generation and storage, for services and other, and then for total revenue generating operations. Sometimes people will look at this information and say, wow, the leasing and resale revenue cost of sales is very low. That's great. Why doesn't Tesla just lease all the vehicles? Well, that would be a problem because you're not getting any money up front for those vehicles. So you wouldn't be able to pay for the suppliers who gave you all the raw materials and parts in time. Your company would run out of money before you were able to get those vehicles back off lease and sell them as used. And then you might have way too many used vehicles and need to reduce the price a lot if that many used vehicles were coming back to you after 3 years. Not everybody wants to buy a 3-year-old Tesla, right? So the next section here is total Tesla cost of sales percent by site and product. Kind of a cool section here so you can see what cost of sales I'm forecasting for each of these models. Now, I wonder how long I've been on the 2018-2019 section in this video. Let me move over a little bit. I hope only very recently. So here's the 2022 and 2023 section where we need to be. Probably I flipped it right around here. So there's the non-GAAP OPEX, total stock comp, etc. Yeah, so there's this section. And here's the cost of sales percent by income statement line. Got it. Then these look better. Fremont Model S cost of sales. You know, high 70s last year. I'm planning it at mid to high 70s this year. Fremont Model X was high to start the year, 90, 80, 75, 70. I've got it hanging out in the low 70s in my forecast for 2023. Fremont Model 3, pretty steady here, 82% cost of sales in my Q1 2023 forecast. The next one Tesla will report, and then getting better from there. Coming down a little, you want your cost of sales percent to be as low as you can get it. Fremont Model Y with a little bump up here, 3 points or so. And then that's what the total Fremont cost of sales percent is increasing by, about 3 points. More than that for production out of Shanghai. Those cost of sales are rising 6 points in my forecast. So 5 points worth of Model 3 and 6 points worth of Model Y, which they're producing more of. Berlin Model Y had a pretty good quarter last quarter. I think we'll see that get a little worse in Q1 and then a lot better over the remainder of the year. Texas Model Y may get a little worse from Q4 to Q1 sequentially, but then improve after that as they're able to ramp up to higher volumes and get that labor cost per vehicle down, with more production weeks for both of these factories also helping throughout the balance of the year. Cybertruck is going to lose money when Tesla first starts producing it, and then hopefully get this cost of sales percent down under 100%. That's always where you want your cost of sales to be, less than 100%. But I'm forecasting that vehicles like Semi that are being produced in very low volumes still have cost of sales greater than 100% for now, and those will improve as production output increases closer to design intent for those production locations, giving us total automotive cost of sales percent here for my forecast. Regulatory credits are part of what makes the cost of sales percent look so good in total. So if you back that out, you can see automotive cost of sales percent excluding regulatory credits. Some folks, this is their favorite metric to look at. I do have this getting worse in total. So it got worse last year, 70, 73, 76. I have it getting worse again in Q1 to 81% about, and then improving from there, back down 77, 75, 73. Not breaking very new territory. Tesla was there recently, but it may take a few quarters to get back to those levels again, given how sharp the price cuts recently were. Then I've got the non-automotive section here for cost of sales. So I'm breaking this out by product type. Solar panels and solar roof, probably a pretty high cost of sales percentage. Tesla has been losing money in Tesla Energy for a long time selling those products, so probably not great cost of sales percents on those products. Power walls should be getting better as the output increases for that product. And the same is true for the Megapack as the Lathrop facility in California ramps production higher. These costs of sales ought to get a lot better throughout the course of the year, up to maybe 25 megapacks per day from there. And then don't forget that Nevada also makes megapacks, so that production will continue. And then Tesla told us at Investor Day that they do have plans to make more megapack production facilities in the future because the world is going to demand so many of those utility scale battery backup solutions. And then there's the services and other area rounding out the complement of areas of Tesla that have cost of sales, leading to total cost of sales. I've got it over 80% for Q1 of 2023. That's a pretty big jump from where we saw it last year, but then improving through the course of the year as we saw in Automotive. Then the next section here is just taking 1 minus the cost of sales percentage. This is just the other way to look at it. Hey, how many pennies on every dollar of sales are left after Tesla pays for the costs of materials and parts and labor to produce and deliver those products? That's what you see in the gross margin percent by site and product section. No new information here, just kind of the it's not the inverse and it's not the mirror image, it's just the what's left after you take 1 minus the cost of sales percentage. You get these numbers. So extremely high gross margin percent on regulatory credits. I do assume a little bit of variable cost on selling regulatory credits, but there can't be very much. It's almost all profit when you sell regulatory credits. So here's that auto gross margin excluding regulatory credits. It's the same 81% we just saw up top. It's just 1 minus that 81% gives you a 19% gross margin here. And then there's the non-automotive section here. So negative numbers are bad. That means you're losing money selling that product. And single-digit numbers aren't that much better. They're telling you you're not making very much profit off these. Maybe some legacy automakers would be happy with an 8% gross margin, but Tesla sure isn't. They're going to plan to do better than that. And then in total, we see Tesla Energy hopefully becoming a solid contributor to total gross margin for Tesla, especially as the Megapack product scales up, because the profit margins on that could be pretty good. I'm taking a more cautious approach on that than some people are, but I am forecasting for that to improve quite a lot, getting to a 50% gross margin by Q4 of 2023, hopefully with Lathrop fully ramped and producing by then. And then a little bit of profit from services and other makes total gross margin of 19% in Q1, and then improving from there back to the levels that we saw last year throughout the balance of the year. And then that's a good place to end this video. I always check in with Loki at the end of the video to see what he's doing. And there's his head, and that's about all you can see from Loki. Oh, I moved and made a noise. So there he is, yawning. So with that, I will end the video and say if you've enjoyed today's video, click the like button. If you're not subscribed to my channel already, why not go ahead and subscribe to my channel over here and click the notification bell to get alerted whenever I post fresh content. Thank you to everyone who supports me through Patreon, where you get early access to these videos the day I upload them, or by joining my YouTube channel as Kathy Kitchler and Halter Ferguson Financial did, earning them executive producer credits at the end of every video. And I'll see you in the next one.